I'm with Mr. Lokesh Suji, who's the Director of the Esports Federation of India and also the Vice President, South Asia of the Asian Esports Federation. Sir, can you tell us more about the discussion you had today and meeting all these panelists?
So let me first of all begin with thanking SportX Asia team to include esports as one of the panel discussions. And this is the first time that esports as a sports is being discussed in a sports conference.
Yeah.
So hats off to these guys, and really thank them for helping us out, bringing esports to the mainstream. So the panel, we had a very exciting panel. We had people coming in from Sony. We had Mr. Uday Sodhi, who's Executive Vice President for Sony Live. Then we had Nimesh Raut, who came in from Star TV. Then we had people coming in, Nitin from Game Loft. And so primarily what we discussed is that what is the opportunity for esports in India. People have been talking about leagues and all those things. So is India actually ready for that league? So eventually everybody more or less was in concurrence that for leagues in esports in India, I think India is not ready for that yet. But having said so, there is a lot of work which is required to be done at the grassroots level. We need to create more awareness of esports within everybody, right? So that is where typically as a federation we are eventually gonna roll out an affiliate program for the esports cafes in India. So there will be a different tier mechanism for the esports cafe affiliation. So these esports cafes eventually will be acting as a training grounds for all these budding esports athletes.
That's absolutely wonderful news. And sir, you were in a unique position of having people on the panel who have their own companies that are doing wonderful things, but you were from the federation. So, and this entire, in SportX, it's been a lot of the private and the public sectors coming together. And what would you have to say about that, having this unique position on the panel and just like overseeing everything? And
so, since we are not for profit, right? Yeah. We would be very happy to partner up with anybody who wants to get into esports or wants to do something around esports, because the way we look at, and that's what eventually panel also discussed, that understanding of this subject is very less with the people who want to invest into esports, whichever way they want to, right? So that is where typically a federation comes into the picture, right? Wherein we are happy to help them, give them the deep dive into what esports is and what best strategies can be worked around. See, as a federation, and to be very honest, as an industry also, as a federation, we cannot come up and say that, hey guys, we gonna develop this industry, right? Everybody has to come together, and more the people we have, the better the situation will be. So that is where, so we as a federation are very open to partnering up with anybody who wants to. But as I said, the more important thing for anybody who wants to get into or is trying to get into esports is the understanding of esports as a domain. Esports is very different from the sports, right? It's new thing. It's a evolved. It's a community which actually has brought esports to the level today, wherein so many investments, such a high prize pools and everything we are talking about, right? When you look at other sports, it's the other way around. The endorsement of the private people coming in and trying to commercialize different properties, and then the brands coming in. That is how the different sports. Kabaddi is the best example for that. Kabaddi existed like so many years, right? So, but because of Mashal and Star coming in, and that is where this thing. But esports is very different. It's a community which is actually bringing esports up, and that is now wherein brands want to get it. So there is a lot of gap in the terms of understanding of this particular domain, and we would love to play that role of the evangelist as far as this sport is concerned. So we'll be very happy to educate people about it, give them the insights about esports, how to engage, what to do, what not to do, right? Because people in India today are very excited about any sport we talk about, everybody's talking about league, right? And that's what so trust me, I'm telling you, if I meet 100 people, right, 99% of the people actually say that, come on guys, let's do a league around it. It's not going to happen like that, right? So that is the role primarily, as a federation we would want to take, and eventually we also have a lot of plans which we will unfold as the year passes by. Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous insight from you. Thank you, sir, for attending SportX and sharing your views with us. Thank you. A wonderful time.